Hi, I'm answering a client question about being concerned that she's still attracting men who don't value her. And she's a little baffled because she's really done some excellent work on self-valuing. And she's really reached a point of quite liking herself and feeling pretty great about who she is. And she's amazing. So here's what I want to say about that. First, I just want to point you to Abraham Hicks, who talks about the fact that every topic is two topics. So there's what you want, and there's the not having it, or the thing you're after and the lack of the thing you're after. So Abraham says we are so focused on the latter. We give a lot of airtime and focus on either mental focus or dialogue focus, just focus on what we don't have. And the not having it, and the why isn't it coming? And instead, you're invited to place your focus on what you want to be real for you now, and act as if it is. So if mentally you go to, but I value myself now, why don't I draw someone who values me? Go instead to more self-valuing. Just give yourself more of that. Give yourself a steady diet of that. Notice where you falter from that. When you're exhausted, are you shitty to yourself? When one thing piles up on top of another? When the thing that is not your best thing in life comes up again as something you're not handling well? Just notice any way that you still treat yourself like you're not valuable and amazing and worthy of your time, even worthy of being in a process of growth where growth is still needed. And just really come close to yourself, just now and now and now, to value yourself. And notice how you speak about yourself, especially your tricky points, and place the focus there. Now, when you think about dating and relationships, is there still stuff you need to decode or figure out or understand about your past relationships? Because there may not be, and you don't need to keep giving them airtime. You don't need to keep reviewing. Notice when your thoughts about a relationship and what went wrong and what you didn't get and how they treated you and even what you allowed and what you contributed to, notice if it's all repeat. There's only so much you need to go over that shit. So be done with it. Now, when you catch yourself in it, you can simply course correct to a topic you like better. And in that moment, I wouldn't go to a better love topic. I would just go to another topic. Just get that out of your field. If you're in it and you want to hit the pause button and say, is there something new here? Is there something that I'm about to see that I could invite in right now to understand that I haven't understood before? And then, be with yourself there, but in a clear, conscious process. Maybe you need to speak to another person to do this, a wise, trusted friend who won't treat you like a victim, or if you've got a coach or a therapist or whatever you like to go to, or if you want to do a written process with yourself so that you don't get lost in the morass of the mind. Or even talk out loud to yourself if no one's around and you won't feel too crazy. But don't just allow that mental blah, blah, blah that's just going to take you through loops and through repetition and through the thing you don't need to look at again and don't want to look at again, and where you'll kind of get caught up in that slippery shame spot, and you won't be clearing the shame, you'll just be re-identifying with it. So I just invite you to a better, clearer, more conscious process. Okay, next I want you to look at the possibility that at some point in life you made an agreement. So here's a conscious process you can be in. So at some point I was thinking about my own, why does my love life not catch up to the rest of the realms of my life where I'm living really differently from how I used to live? And I was sitting with that in a very open way, and it just came to me something that I believe Carolyn Mace said that I heard a long time ago that was about unconscious agreements we make with ourselves. And I just gave it my focus. what unconscious agreement did I make with myself? Was there something that I decided a long time ago, before I knew the things I know now, when I was very unhealed, something that was not based in truth, that had nothing to do with why I was really here or what I was really to do? And I found something. It just came up very clearly. Oh, a long time ago I decided I was supposed to heal my lovers. No, that was never true. I was never capable of that. That was doomed to failure from the start. And it kept me in these horrible loops where I hung in there to try to do that. And I couldn't do that. And so I felt like a failure. So now there was something wrong with me. So I wasn't coming in with my best, strongest self. And I was getting tripped up in an impossible project. And the worst parts of me started showing up. And no, that didn't go well at all. So, open to that. What agreement did you make with yourself? And this doesn't have to be a big deal. This isn't some code you need to crack or a puzzle to solve. Just ask the question and see what comes up. And, you might consider where did I decide that in a non-romantic relationship? Because these things transfer. Very early you became your sibling's protector or savior. Or if you had an unhappy parent and your job became to accommodate and to make them okay and to make sure they didn't get mad at you, and then you were doing your job right. So just consider that, and again, get help with that if you need to. And again, if nothing comes up for you, let this one go. It's not like everybody has this. The last thing I want to say is there are many ways people settle in love relationships where they're not willing to in other realms of life. I mean, obviously people settle in all kinds of realms of life, and there's usually a fear attached. For example, people who settle for a job they don't like have a fear about paychecks and benefits and insurance and stuff like that, because the thing that they really want to do, their soul's calling, doesn't have those things attached to it readily. So it's not just romance, but people seem to do it a lot with romantic love. And if you think about it, there is no topic that there are more songs about and movies about and, wisdom thrown around about a lot, and cynical thinking thrown around. So I want to invite you to really notice where you decided, oh, well, you can't ask for too much, or well, nobody's perfect. That's a funny and great way people phrase that to themselves, because no, nobody's perfect. And that doesn't mean accept and put up with what really isn't okay with you. Someone can be amazing and still have something about them that just doesn't work for you. And how people get out of their own clarity about that is they say, but they're amazing. Here's all the ways they're amazing. Here are all the ways they treat me well. And, if you've got a no one's ever treated me this way attached to it, well, that's a problem. Maybe they just came as the first person to show you, here's what being treated well looks like, feels like. You like it? Good. Now, don't stay with this person just because they do that. Make that your bottom line now. Make that, okay, now no one who doesn't do this, and you've just learned something else that's not acceptable to you in the thing that's not acceptable. So hold on to that. I always tell people, know your non-negotiables. If it's non-negotiable for you to be with someone sober, for example, don't get involved with an addict, or don't get involved with someone who thinks maybe they are. Don't get involved with someone who drinks more than you're comfortable with. Even if it's not an addiction to you, it puts you in that realm of, wait, are they relying on this thing too much? Or is this thing coming between us? Or do I start worrying I'm not valued because they can't be with me unless they're drinking? So, I don't care how amazing someone is. And, here's a fun thing that I like to say to people who are agonizing over breaking up with someone who's amazing. Only break up with people who are amazing. Set yourself up. Set your life up so that you are never breaking up with anyone who isn't amazing. You're just not going to date someone or get into a relationship with someone unless you think they're amazing. They've got to be beautiful. They've got to be loving. They've got to be a human being whose values you value and who you admire and who is fun for you to be with, whose energy you like. that's really ultimately more important to my mind than the list of resume items, the dating resume items. So I invite you not to make their amazing be a reason to stay with someone, or in other words, don't trip yourself up with, well, nobody's perfect, or I can't have everything. No, but you can value and hold to your non-negotiables. And if someone's great, but you are tuned into the fact that it's still not what you want, quit telling yourself that you're throwing away something great and you should settle for this because after all this, and this is in place. No, we know when we're with the right people. And of course they're imperfect. They're not imperfect in ways that violate something inside us or keep in question whether it's fundamentally okay or not. So those are some basic ideas to work with. Keep valuing yourself and stay in a more open, exploring process at the beginning of love relationships, so you don't dive in too soon before you know some things you need to know before you give it a yes.